Thank you for joining us on today's edition of Naples Daily Newsmakers. One of the premier events here in Collier County in Southwest Florida and really around the nation is the Naples Winter Wine Festival. And joining us here today on Newsmakers is Maria Lara, the CEO of the Naples Children and Education Foundation, which puts on the Winter Wine Festival here in Naples, and also the co-chairs for 2016, Tom Moran and Jim Dixon. Thank you all for joining us here on Newsmakers to talk about this year's exciting event. So, Tom, you're back for a repeat. You were here last year to talk about the festival as co-chair last year too. 2 years in a row, that's got to be quite a feat to undertake.
Well, it's been exciting. 2 very different years, working with 2 wonderful co-chairs, and the Dixons have been great to work with, and the Holbergs the year before. But each year is a little different. This year we've worked on different things each year, so I think we're getting a full breadth of the festival. So this year we work more on the experience lots and the online auction. We're very excited about the new online auction. In the first year, maybe we worked a little bit more on turnout and PR. So each year has been very different, and but it's been a great experience.
But it's a full year's worth of effort that goes into this. So you probably didn't catch a breath after the last one before you started on this one.
We started actually the day of the festival. We started planning for this year. So it's a year-long project. You have to work on it for the entire year for it to be successful.
So Jim, how much of an eye-opener has this been for you in terms of what you've seen from the festival in the past, but actually being the co-chair this year? How's that?
Well, when the Morans approached us during the brunch of last year's event, one of the things that I must say is that it's been a big enlightenment for both my wife and I, Laura, is the fact that it's much easier than what has been discussed in the past. Due to the fact that we have such a great staff at NCEF has made being the chair or co-chair much easier.
Maria, for folks, just about everybody's familiar with the Wine Festival, but let's talk a little bit about the magnitude of this, how long it's been going on. What year are you in here with this year's Wine Festival?
This will be our 16th year. We started in 2000, and you know, every year we work very hard to try to do what we do a little bit better, a little bit different. We have some of our audience is the same. We have a lot of constant donors and a lot of people that come back regularly, but at the same time we want to attract new donors and new patrons, and so every year we have to do a nice combination of what people like, but also what will keep people engaged and excited, and continue to come back and go back and tell their friends and their family members so they'll come back next year. So every year we almost have to reinvent ourselves to make sure that we have a successful festival, but it's also exciting for our patrons.
And what the festival does here is it raises money for children's charities. Over that 15 years so far, about how much money has been raised and how many children have you been able to help here?
Through the Naples Winter Wine Festival, we have raised over $135 million. We are the largest provider of funding to children's services in Collier County, and we've tallied a little over 200,000 children.
Last year, about what, $12 million or so
Yes.
was raised through the festival, including the auction and the dinners and so forth. Talk a little bit, if you would, Tom, what were some of the charities that you feel were some of the top ones you were able to help here in the last year?
Well, last year we have about 50 charities apply for grants, and we now spend a lot of time on the grant committee, having sat on that for 5 years. And you see where the money goes and how we are good stewards of the money and the children it helps. Some of the small charities that are just just getting started, maybe only a year or two, but and to the bigger charities, the Boys and Girls Clubs and things that have been very successful for many years in the community. So there's a wide range of need in the community, from vision to early learning, which is our fund to need this year, to learning disabilities, dental care. So they all have an important part in helping the community.
What are some of the ways that you've seen money make a difference here in Collier County?
We've done a few things. One is that we've funded several, I'll piggyback off of Tom's comment on our fund the need for early learning. We've seen incredible gains and incredible results from really focused investment in early learning and high quality centers. We've tracked children and how they perform in school, and for children who may have not performed well ever because of the socioeconomics or language or other issues, we're seeing children start school ready to learn in neighborhoods and areas where maybe 5 or 10 years ago people would have said that's not possible. We've also delivered, thousands of pairs of glasses to children. Go into any public school and you'll see the number of kids with glasses and you'll say, wow, it's pretty significant. What we've done with children in foster care and at-risk children, and being able to help through legal services and Friends of Foster Children, really build some protectiveness around those kids so that they can still function even though they're going through difficult times through tutoring and after-school care. So we really try very hard to surround children with what they need so that they can succeed in the future.
And one of the things that's hard, I think, for a lot of people to comprehend here is that there's hunger among our children here in Collier County. That's also been one of the programs and initiatives that you've undertaken as well, too. Is that something that has been, a gain in the community from this event?
Hunger is one of those issues that, will always be here, and we've seen some significant impacts with regard to being able to leverage our funds, which is always good considering we have so many investors as part of our trustees and our board. But we're also seeing a greater need. We are the 3rd largest county of uninsured children, and so our needs continue. More than half the kids in our county are on free and reduced lunch. So our role and the role of Tom and Jim in particular as chairing the festivals is really important. We have to succeed because so many children are counting on us.
So let's fast forward a couple of weeks from now, Jim, and let's talk a little bit, one of the real eye-openers are some of the incredible auction lots that come along every year. Give us a couple of examples of things that you think are particularly unique and interesting for this year's auction lots.
Okay, well, a couple that come to mind immediately is that we have a new Rolls-Royce Dawn coming. The new Rolls-Royce Dawn will be the first one in the world will be here offered for sale at the Naples Winter Wine Festival. And it's taken off a 1952 Silver Dawn that was produced by Rolls-Royce back at that period of time. And this car is very unique. Tom and I both went to go see it over in Miami for their new premiere showing of the car, and it's quite a unique car. So we'll have the first one in the world will be sold here.
Wow.
And then next, I would say we were able to get Jerry Jones of the Dallas Cowboys will be providing an auction lot for us. I had dinner with him here in Naples, went to the forum at the head table and asked if he'd be so kind to provide an auction lot, and he's doing something that he's never done before. And he is providing 4 seats in his private box at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium.
Wow. Tom, any others that you'd like to throw in there?
Oh, we've got a few that are excited about. My wife has worked very hard putting together a Broadway lot, behind scenes access, the auditions, having a song named in your honor, a shout out they call it, where actually you're named from the stage or the production. We're a dinner with some of the Broadway stars, and just so it's going to be a really special David Webb jewelry and some other things. Then we have some of the trips that are phenomenal. I mean, a trip to Bali, Komodo Dragon on a 150-foot yacht. Then we have a trip to 5 Oman resorts where you're taking Singapore Air and private suites to visit, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos. That'll be a phenomenal trip. And then we have Galapagos Island trip, which will be a private yacht to have the whole yacht to yourself. And we have a Masters lot where you spend a week with Gary Player, private access, from the very beginning to the week, the pre-tournament games all the way through the week. Have perfect seating right up there and to the final hole, and a private residence included and private transportation. So it's we really have some great experience lots this year.
Tom had talked a little bit earlier about how every year is different. What is it, Maria, that you would point is going to be sort of unique to this year's festival?
This year we have something very special. The day before we start our 4-day event, and it's called the Vintage Cellar, and it'll be a private wine tasting. And this year we're honoring the 40th anniversary of the Judgment of Paris, which is when Napa wines were sort of put on the table in comparison to French wines, and then American wines won and sort of changed the industry. But we're celebrating and reenacting that experience and having all the original people, Stephen Spurrier and a few others, come out and relive this. One, in honor of the industry, but two, because it's such an important event for our economy and the Napa wine industry. So we're going to celebrate that the Thursday before the festival, and that is open to the public. Tickets are available on our website, or you can call our office, and anyone interested in attending is welcome to attend. I think there might be a handful of tickets left for that. We also have an online auction. That this will be the second year we work on this, but it's new and improved, and we're looking forward to again seeing the public participate on that and have some amazing lots on that as well. We tried very hard to mirror the auction, the big auction, in our online, so we have experiences, we have some incredible wines that you may not be able to get anywhere else except for on our online auction lot site. So, and that opens January 11th.
And so the idea with that is because of the limited number of people that are able to get into the actual venue itself, that people, anybody out there can tap in and bid on some of these lots then. Every year there's a different name that comes along with the festival too, and this year it's Great Expectations. What's the backstory of Great Expectations?
Well, in my opinion, it's a results-oriented statement. Our expectations is to, hopefully the NCF trustees would like to see favorable results at the auction, but more importantly is the results that we obtain with the charities and the strategic initiatives that we support. We look at improvements in graduation rates, we look at improvement in dropout rates, and we also have seen from the Sheriff's Department, the Collier County Sheriff's Department, that there's been a reduction in juvenile crime rates throughout Collier County. So results-oriented is where we're focused.
A lot of people see all the glitz and glamour of this, but that's a very important point, is the charities that are helped, but also you're really changing people's lives. Tom, you've seen that through the years in the festival.
We have been involved in the very first year, 16 years ago. I've seen the festival grow from where, but we're now helping so many more kids a year. 50,000 children a year are being touched by the organization, and many of the charities I don't think could be doing as much good if the money's not there. So we have certain goals we need to reach to make sure their good work is continued. So so this year I think we're with the help of our co-chairs and the support of the staff and the trustees. I think we're going to we have great expectations for this year.
And that growth happens, and is that one of the reasons that early learning is the strategic focus this year?
I think we selected early learning, and I have to give credit to both Tom and Jim. They have both served on the grant committee for at least 5 years each, so they're coming at this from many angles. But I think we've selected early learning because we saw results in a project we did in Immokalee, and we'd like to duplicate it in East Naples and Golden Gate.
We have 30 seconds or so left here, and I can't let you gentlemen get away without giving us a prediction. Last year, about $12 million. You have a prediction, Jim, for what you think we may see this year?
Well, after reviewing the lots with Tom and the staff and trying to project what we think that the event should do, we've kind of given an estimate on the numbers that we think it should do. So we think it should be at least equal to what we did last year, and potentially we think it could be above.
Anything you want to add?
Same thing. That's our goal is to match last year and hopefully a little bit more, because we certainly know that there's a need for the money.
Maria Lara, Tom Moran, Jim Dixon, we want to thank you for joining us here on Naples Daily Newsmakers. I'm very proud to say that this was the last program of this nature, and the Naples Winter Wine Festival in my time here in Naples has been an incredible event that's grown for 15 years here, and so I'm very privileged that you all joined me from this. Starting next week, you're going to see a bit of a change here from the Naples Daily News in this broadcast, and coming up after the break, we'll sit down with Amy Osher. Stay tuned and find out the future of Naples Daily Newsmakers and the new program, Behind the Headlines. Thank you for joining us back here on Naples Daily Newsmakers, and you've joined us for what will be the last segment of Newsmakers as we know it. Joining us here in the studio is Amy Osher, and she's going to take us here at the Daily News and here in Southwest Florida into a whole new exciting dimension in broadcast journalism.
Well, thank you, Alan, for your gracious welcome here, though. It's been a real treat.
Let's go ahead and just acquaint some of the folks about a little bit of your background. You've worked here in Florida in broadcast journalism for quite a while. You want to talk about some of the major markets you've been in? Sure.
I've been fortunate enough to spend my whole adult life and career here in Florida. I've been across the Orlando market. I covered space shuttle launches. I've been in the Tampa market, been in Sarasota, down in Southwest Florida for a number of years now. So it's really been a benefit to me, I think, to really know this area, the ins and outs of across the whole state.
And here in Southwest Florida, folks are familiar with you through your work with Health Matters. You want to talk a little bit about your program?
Sure, thanks. You know, I've had a long connection with NBC2. I worked with them as a daily reporter. I was in Charlotte County for a number of years through the terrorist attacks, through Hurricane Charlie. I was there for probably about 5 years, and then I went on to be an investigative reporter for NBC2 and stayed on. And then I went to Tampa for a while, to WFLA, NBC in Tampa. Then I came back again as with Health Matters, and that's kind of a partnership between Lee Memorial Health System and NBC2, and that's a daily 365 days a year health reporter, and independently done, featuring local doctors, local patients, techniques, things that are all available in Southwest Florida. So I've been doing that for the last 5 years.
And here at the Daily News, we've been doing Newsmakers for 5 or 6 years as well here, and Jeff Lytle, the predecessor here, was the host on the show, and then after he retired, I took it over. But now we're changing with the times, and this is an exciting new opportunity for us here at the Daily News, but also for our viewers. You want to sort of talk a little bit about the name of the new program, and also let's talk a little about the direction it's going to take. So Newsmakers will be replaced with
Behind the Headlines.
Behind the Headlines.
Yeah, something very familiar to news readers, which will hopefully appreciate the sensibilities that we bring to it. And it's a really exciting opportunity for me as well. And we were talking earlier, and I think that my career maybe has moved me in this path because the direction of news and media is changing in so many ways. You know, they're converging into print as being online, TV's being in print and on websites, and there's so many different things coming together. And I think that people in the media need to rethink of what their role is. If you want to be people that deliver information, you have to be able to do it across a variety of platforms, because more information is coming out on smartphones. People are watching it when they want to watch it. Even if it's on local news, they might catch it on the web later that day. So I think there's a lot of areas to converge what everybody's been doing all along and present it in a new, exciting way. And that's what we hope to do by taking the sensibilities of the newspaper, giving them a different direction and a focus, and doing what TV does best, because everybody knows that there's different strengths to all the mediums. In print, you can go into a lot more depth than we ever could on local news. And that's been one of the big complaints about local news, is that you drive by and you cover something, or you only hit the big stories that are most sensational. So we have the opportunity, I think, here to combine that, to go behind the headlines, to take a deeper look at stories, to interview people maybe that have been part of those stories, the news reporters, and bring the TV sensibilities of taking you to the scene and giving you a different perspective on it. And so I'm really excited about that direction.
And so when people tune in the future, there'll be certain aspects of the show that they'll be able to see every week. What are some of the plans that you have for the new program Behind the Headlines?
Sure. I think with it being a news magazine format is really a great middle meeting ground, so to speak, because we'll have some regular features. We'll kind of start with a table of contents in a way. We'll kind of run through the different stories that will be in it. There'll be a lot of different segments, and we'll use a lot of the newspaper kind of terminology where we have a centerpiece, and that'll be our main story. And a lot of times it might be the story that's going to be out in that Sunday's edition that a lot of resources within the paper go into, and we'll share that and kind of further it or complement it in some way. We plan to have a picture of the week and kind of having some of the print photographers bring out maybe their best photo that week and talk about that. A day in history so we can reinforce what's been going on in this area and the longevity that Naples Daily News has had with that. And then we'd like to have you continue. I know you have a lot of viewers out there that are looking forward to seeing what you're doing and have a commentary and your perspective on whether it's some of the stories we do or just something that's going on in the community.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, I will continue on my role here as the editorial page editor at the Naples Daily News, but I'm thrilled that you've given me the opportunity to go ahead and weigh in with some commentary on air as well too. So, what's going to be the fundamental difference that people are going to be able to see here? I mean, it sounds like you're going to have a very, very fast-paced show that is going to really be sort of with the current trends to get a lot of news out to people fast, places that they can get it now that they didn't used to be able to get it. You're keeping up with the times here.
We hope to, and it's really an exciting time, I think, for people like me that are very into news, because there's so many different ways you can look at it now. It's not a one-size-fits-all where everybody watches the local news and you have to take it in what order it's given. So we're kind of doing that even with a front-end mindset that a lot of people may watch a segment rather than the whole show. So we're going to have a lot of little segments in that. Each one will probably be 4 minutes or so, a very digestible format, and that's where kind of that table of contents, so to speak, comes in, the little headlines, because later it'll be delivered on social media, on streaming, on our website, so you can click on maybe stories that you liked within that. So we're going to have very video-driven, we'll have interview-driven, we'll have a lot of different variety, but we hope to have a deliberate kind of subject matter that we maybe take different turns and looks on throughout the half hour.
Looks like an exciting new opportunity here for everybody here in Southwest Florida.
It is. We can't wait to get started.
And we'll get started in another week. We want to thank you for tuning in over the past several years to Naples Daily Newsmakers, but times are changing, and Amy Osher is going to help lead us into the future here as we move from Naples Daily Newsmakers to Behind the Headlines. Thanks for watching.